is there. But the question is, what the point is, I would
they speak at the events of the president.
I would say those are personal statements that were being made by individual, you know, probably an individual leader who might have said those kinds of statements, whether it was in R or not, but those are personal statements. I would not say that is not always the standing of you know, the government standing. I think the president has been forthright, clear about it from way far. So read the mind of the president. If the president has said there's no abductions, I have empowered the independent institutions, but he will follow it up. At the end of the day, as I said, the buck stops with him. But he has been very clear about it. He does not support abductions as the president.
What will he have to do to see an end to it?
He has given the instructions to whichever bodies.
Because you see, at the end of the day, it is painting his government in a negative way.
Very well. That is what I've said. Self-abduction is also real. To paint, to create that painting of the government, as you mentioned. However, he has given firm instructions to the Inspector General of Police and DCI to get to the bottom of this matter and report back. Because the mind of the president, he's always been clear about it. And he's pronounced himself very clear. So I don't know why we still want to debate about it. What else do you want the president to do?
Because I'm trying to look at it from this particular angle. You see, we saw Bob Jaggi on that particular newspaper has been quoted saying, if the state did not abduct me, then why hasn't it called me to make a statement? That abduction painted the government in a negative way. It's the people say it is the government that did it.
The point is...
let me finish. So if the state itself is not involved in trying to clear its name in terms of who exactly is behind these abductions, whether it is self-abduction so that proper action is taken. So then where do you draw the line when it comes to whether to blame the state or not?
Are there others who've been called? Yes, isn't it? So I think the investigation is not over yet. So can you give it time? Because instructions have been given to IG and DCI. Do the investigations. They know the mandate is very clear. We expect something from Kenyans. We expect to hear from you. So let them be patient.
Let them be patient.
Okay. Well, we have been allowed for some time, and probably others have been allowed longer. I have never seen in my lifetime a government that is not protecting people who are actually speaking their mind, exercising their freedom of speech, or calling out a lie, calling out an injustice. I have never seen. But we have seen it in this government. And that is why we are convinced the government has a hand in it. Unfortunately, the government is not one person. And you cannot be able to point at one person. That's why we say government is an ongoing concern. It's a wheel that is moving. And the wheel is made up of, several other wheels for the vehicle to propel, you know. And that's why I opened with a remark of our late minister then, who said the government can remove your teeth and tell you go and report. And if you rattle a snake, you must be ready to be bitten by it. Now, what is happening is instilling fear to Kenyans, to people who are able to speak, you know. At some point when I make a TikTok account, a TikTok statement, I see my friends say, "Weh, utakujiwa, they are going to come for you." And I'm like, I didn't point at anybody. I just said it is wrong to abduct people. It is wrong for government not to speak. And probably why this chest thumping from the people in government and feeling that they self-abduction, their abduction is not real, and feeling all those things, is because they have not been touched. If their children were abducted or held hostage by Kenyans or wherever, I am sure the story will be different. You know, most of the people you find out there, the ones that have been abducted, they will not speak the way we are speaking. We saw the case of the man in Embu. You see a man cry in public, that was not drama. That was not drama. So I feel the government, by the way, it's time, we are already saying you have 3 more years to go, and we cannot be able to to give you an extra day in office, but we are giving you the 3 years to be there. So we want you to perform, give us, explain to us the promise. No, not the promises. The promises will not be now be given. The promises that you have already given, can you start fulfilling? Can we start seeing work being done? Already there's work being done, yes, but can we start seeing things, you know, rolling and all that? It's not a lot of work. I mean, we've been around for some time, and we have seen, like during the Kibaki's time, may he rest in peace, everybody was paying taxes willingly. But today, if I have a way of evading tax, unfortunately, I'm a public figure, I cannot evade, even when I buy a sweet. I would, because I am, the government is not giving me the right services. And you find there's a lot that we need to actually fix. And let us not ignore the young people. Let us not ignore. We may silence them now by, you know, abducting them. We may silence them by getting them on Subarus. We may silence them by, you know, taking them to court. We may silence them with all manner of things. But their will still be there.
If at all the allegations are true, what is this the right way to deal with dissent, and what happens to those who are actually having a different voice from what the government is speaking? Because if you look at the trend, most of the people that to some extent have found themselves on the other side of this particular conversation as people that have been very critical with, you know, the government, what they post and all that.
Your statement is a bit tricky to answer, but I'll try what I can. I know so many people are actually criticizing the government. We are still walking free. So I agree with you and disagree with you. But the underlying word is that the government has a responsibility to protect the citizen. That one they cannot run away from. They have to protect the citizen. But if somebody is trying to use abduction to push for an agenda, I'm telling you that's not the right way. One, it exposes the country. I think I'd mentioned this earlier. You know, whether it is lies or there are truth in it, the whole thing portrays this our country as a bad country. It will even try to push away investors because you don't know who is going to be abducted next. My take is let the right agencies do their work. If some people are trying to use abduction to push for their agenda, let them be mentioned. We should not talk of so-and-so is doing this and we are quiet. Let somebody with the evidence, if it is Gachagua using abduction to push for his agenda, let it be exposed. If it is an individual within the government or in the opposition trying to use this abduction to push for their agenda, it is important they be exposed because this country is bigger than any one of us. People will come and go, and this country must be there. And we must protect this country because the independence, we didn't get it just easily like that. Many lost their lives. Many people became orphans and some women became widows because of fighting for independence. And fighting even for the 2010 Constitution did not go without blood. Therefore, we must protect what we have. I agree the government must be criticized, and we must criticize the government. Because a government which is not being criticized cannot work. Being in a government is like a comfort zone. So, they must be criticized, but we must criticize constructively, and then anybody trying to use abduction is destroying the country, it's not destroying William Ruto. When outsiders are talking bad about Kenya, it's not about William Ruto. It's about Kenyans. It's about our future, the future of our children. It's about the future of our economy. When you are fighting an economy, you are not fighting William Ruto, you are fighting us. When things are bad, it's bad for everybody. Whether you are in Mount Kenya, whether you are in Nyanza, when things are bad, it is bad. As a country, we need to sit down, especially in 2025, moving forward. Everybody should be responsible.
I get your point.
A responsible citizen makes the country to prosper. But when we start using our country to push for our personal agendas, of which cannot sustain everybody, because, for example, if it is me, I want to be somebody in 2027, then I'm destroying the economy. It means I'm selfish. I don't care about others. But if somebody also in the system of government is trying to abduct those who are criticizing them, that person is a failure.
All right.
He need to be mentioned.
Okay.
He need to be he's a coward.
All right.
Yes.
Just an underliner.
Okay.
I want to encourage all the young people out there, please be free to express yourselves. I think what the president mentioned that when you're talking about parents to guide sometimes the young people, because internet now, never forget, sometimes you want a job tomorrow, and have had cases, somebody writes some not nice messages, sometimes even to most of us, and sometimes opportunities come out, they need help tomorrow. So sometimes it's good to build a good relationship, with leaders and everybody else. But finally, in that line, sometimes it becomes a bit difficult when you see somebody drawing a leader of a nation inside a coffin. Honestly speaking, this...
You think that is crossing the line?
Well, of course, that's crossing the line. Okay. To many people, that would not be comfortable. I cannot see someone whom I honor, when given so much respect, being put in a casket, and then you expect me to come and celebrate that. Those are the kind of things we say as young people. Please, it is good. Innovation is very good. Creativity is good. But kindly, in your mindset, let's not be too evil. Let's also maintain on the positive path.
Okay. I have 5 minutes. I want to wind up this particular show, but there's something we wanted to talk about, and that was what is happening in the education sector. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes each to actually comment on that, on what we've been seeing as far as the transition is concerned, especially with matters to do with infrastructure. Let me start with you, Honorable Kituru. Your constituency, when it comes to construction of classes for grade 9, how are we looking at?
To be honest, of course, I think I had about 9 or 10 classrooms that were constructed by government, and I think most of them have actually been opened. I think we may not have been able to have figured it well, the magnitude of what this was going to be under the grade 9 transition, which I think the government got some funding and they were able to do it, but I don't think we've been able to achieve. I think there's still some bit of challenges, quite some challenges, and I'm encouraging also the Minister of Education to fast track it, because the people who are suffering are also students who come, whose parents are my employers. So I think there are a bit of challenges that have not been fixed there. I don't want to talk about it much, but there's a challenge. Okay.
Honorable Masaria, how does Suna West look like as far as the grade 9 transition is concerned?
Actually, I want to say there's a challenge. Junior secretary is a challenge, but I want to appreciate the government that they are now trying. Because you'll get that in most junior secondary school, there are more than 3 or 4 teachers. Very few have 2, especially after the last recruitment, which is encouraging, being it was a new thing. But we need to do more than that, so that all schools can get sufficient teachers. 2, on the issue of classes, in my constituency, we have tried, but we have not achieved the maximum, because there are schools which do not have grade 9 classes.
Okay. So how many were you planning to achieve? Like
no, this year alone, I think we have done around 24 classrooms from CDF for junior secondary schools. And Suna West is the first constituency in the entire country to do laboratory for 2 junior secondary schools. My team have done mapping out where we schools which are standalone, primary, junior secondary school are standalone without a secondary, we give them first priority. But schools which are neighboring a secondary schools,
you can share resources.
They can share the resources. So over a period of time, I believe we are going to solve. We decided as a constituency that we should not wait for the government to do everything, because junior secondary is here to stay. So you better embrace it and start looking for a way of helping the student, because time will come when the current student at junior secondary school will be doctors, they'll be the engineers, they'll be the lawyers. So, and by that time I'll be old. I'll be in need of their services more. So if you don't prepare them,
you're the one that is going to suffer.
And actually, myself, I'm a government. Once you are elected an MP on behalf of the people of Suna West, and there's a policy from the national, you must look for how to customize so that you can work with. The last year, you can remember, I had a very big stakeholders meeting. In Suna West is where we have even discussed the pathway of junior secondary school. Some areas do not understand even the issue of pathways. And in my constituency, we have discussed and agreed which school will be doing which pathway, the sports and what, the STEM and what. We have mapped out our area, and within a period of time, when it's being rolled out, Suna West is going to be #1. And actually, what we are doing is consultation. We do a lot of research, we consult with stakeholders, and then we work toward our strategic plan. Our strategic plan of 2020 or 2023-2028 is aligned to the issue of junior secondary school. We are alive to the fact that
Yes.
This thing is there to stay with us. So we must do what we must.
So you're adapting?
Yes, so we're adopting very well,
Okay.
and I appreciate my team and the people of Suna West and
All right.
Migori County at large.
Okay.
But above all, I want to request the government so that they can do what they take. They can suspend doing some roads,
Okay.
and then let
focus
us
on,
fix.
issues
And
to do with
finally,
education.
because I know you may not give me time,
Yeah.
I want to say this. You cannot succeed everywhere. Let the current government pick education and health and let them excel in it. Let us fix the issue of junior secondary school, the issue of capitation, the issue of university model of funding. Let us fix the issue of SHA and SHE and
SHE.
then let us fix the issue. Those three things, even without roads,
No, you mentioned 5.
even without everything, people will appreciate the William Ruto presidency for these 5 years. I can tell you for free.
Okay.
If now they can fix the issue of SHA, the issue of university funding, and the issue of junior secondary,
All right.
my friend, people will say this is the legacy of left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 30 seconds because I'm out of time.
Thank you so much. A government that is not careful on education is a government that is setting itself on failure. So I urge the government to be very proactive in matters education,
Okay.
matters health, and we should not forget, this is a new year. We are only a few days to the new year. Kindly, the president, he should be able to make sure we have an IBC. Why is it taking so long? The speed at which they impeached the former deputy president should be the speed that they should use to actually expedite this process. And we are going to be happy Kenyans.
Okay, you're going to make Honorable Kitu want to respond. I don't have the time, Kali. And of course, thank you so much for making time, of course. Honorable Peter Masaria, thank you so much for coming, Member of Parliament, Suna West. And of course, excuse me, I want to finish my show. Thank you. And of course, we have Julia Chege, who is a political analyst, and Honorable Bernard Kitu, Member of Parliament, Nandi Hills. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, for making time for this particular show this morning. Let's do this again next time. All right, that's where we wrap it up here on New Dawn. Up next is Morning Vibe with Remy Majala. Let's do this again when God says we do. My name is Brian.
Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ.
Lucky.
Twende kasi wewe.
Anguka now. When it comes to play